Hi, this is live from Kyoto. I'm Anton Corbijn and I have a show at KYOTOGRAPHIE. And I'm very happy to share my world with you. Welcome. I've tried to keep it a short story, but I was born on an island in Holland in a very religious community. And I was very attracted to things that happened outside of the island, and that was in the 60s, that was music. And I really wanted to be part of that music world because I equated that with some sort of freedom that I didn't have where I lived. So I was fascinated by the Beatles and all that. And when we left the island with my family at my age 11, we moved to the middle of Holland and I had access to record stores and all that. And I became very obsessed with music. And I knew all the details that were very unimportant. I knew the names of the drummers or the bass player or all that. So it was a kind of obsession. And when I was 17, I borrowed my father's camera once for an open air concert where I went to, and because I was quite shy and I didn't know anybody in that town. So I was on my own and I thought, well, the camera gives me a bit of excuse to walk around. So anyway, I took 6 pictures and I sent those to a magazine and they published them. And then I thought, well, this is what I can do. I can be part of the music world by taking pictures. That took many years, but it became, the only thing I photographed when I was young. So yeah, that's how it started. And then I became, in the end, I became interested in photography. At the time, it was only the subject matter I was interested in, not the photography itself. I think a big decision was to leave Holland and move to England in '79, and then became the main photographer for the most important music magazine of Europe called the NME at the time. And that was a weekly magazine, and through that I did many of the covers, and I met U2 through them and Depeche Mode, and I photographed Miles Davis and so many people, and that was really how I became well known in the UK and outside. So Miles Davis was an imported picture. That was in '85. And then a year later I did photographs for the Joshua Tree for U2. They became very well known because that album became so big and my picture was everywhere. So I guess those were moments where my photographs helped me in my career. I was very looking up to some of these people, but I realized that to make better pictures, I should not look up to them, but should look level. So I tried to do that, and I succeeded most of the time to have that attitude. I think that a sense of humanity, something that makes people special, and hopefully some of that comes through in the portrait. But and if anything, I don't elevate people. I think I'm very basic. But because some of these people are so well known, the basic approach is new to them or to people who follow them, I guess. I mean, I don't set out to do something amazing. I'm relying on circumstances and the character of the people I photograph. First, I hardly ever use a light. Usually, I find wherever I am, I find a light to work with. If I had any education, it was in Holland, being a photographer for a music magazine. When some musicians came to Holland, they were there for a day, and there were like 10 journalists from newspapers and whatever. During an interview, they all brought a photographer. So the photographer got 1 or 2 minutes. So you become really efficient in those 2 minutes that you were given, in both how you use your time and also the environment where you find people. So that was my schooling. So I can do photographs really fast. I can make actually every location work for me. No, I'm quite intuitive, I think, in my approach. And I sometimes have ideas that, say behind your desk, you think of ideas. They hardly ever worked for me in the end. It's always more the spur of the moment feeling. And quite often people are slightly different than you think they will be anyway. I think my strength is more in meeting people. I was very influenced by Dutch reportage photography in the 70s. Holland was very socially conscious country, and you had these magazines called left-leaning magazines that had all these photographers go to Central and Latin America when there was revolutions and stuff, and all these pictures were with heavily printed skies, and I think that had an effect on how I photographed and also how I let things happen. There's a mixture between my shyness and that influence, that I didn't direct people too much initially. So I had a lot of environment making an important part of the picture. I mean, I like film the most because you feel with film you really create something, and the period of waiting between you taking a picture and seeing the results is a nice kind of tension. It can be a day, it can be weeks sometimes if you're traveling, that you actually see what you've made. And I like that. I've come to like that kind of tension. There's more imperfection in the film. What I do like with digital is the post-production, the digital darkroom. I think imperfection kind of relates to mankind, the inability of mankind to be perfect. And I think that's important, that to get the sense of a human touch in your work. And I don't deliberately try to make my pictures look imperfect, because I don't use a tripod. I shoot by hand, and the composition is often so like this, I always say, people say that I like your style, how do you develop your style? I don't think I ever developed a style. I was just unable to shoot it any other way. So the inability to shoot it any other way became what people call my style. My pictures probably say more than I can say in words. I think you probably don't do your work any favors by trying to explain too much. There's a beauty in not knowing things and trying them out. I think the analog way of shooting is the best way to start. I mean, I shoot also digital now, but I'm glad I know how to shoot analog, I know how to print, I know all these things. And then you understand, I think, better what you can do in photography. So I would always urge people to at least try that way. And then you understand better what you actually can be capable of achieving. So you always hope that you take a better picture than you have. There's always that, and it's so great to connect with creative people, because that's basically what I do. I photograph creative people, painters or musicians or writers or any of the creative disciplines, and I love meeting them, because I think you always take something away from those meetings. That's why one of these part of the exhibition is called Inwards and Onwards. I go in and take something away with that, and you move forward. I thought presence was just, this is where I am now, this is what I made, and this is where we are. Yeah, I think photography has been a beautiful gift to me. So you get to meet so many great people. It's a world that I was very unaware of when I grew up. So I'm grateful in general to life.